A top 25 flash in the early season as both of these programs try to make an early statement and build that resume. Welcome to Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth, home to the TCU Horned Frogs. As we'll see a team looking to make it back to the CFP this year, the North Carolina Tar Heels. Taking on one of the participants from last year's playoff, the TCU Horned Frogs. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, joined here in the booth by a couple of legends, and yes, we do use that term loosely. David Pollack from the University of Georgia and former Gator Jesse Palmer. Guys, let's get down to the field. The Horned Frogs' long wait is coming to an end as they'll put a foot to it and the season will get underway. And it'll be a touchback. The ball will come out to the 25-yard line. Here's the handoff. Picks up a useful 5-yard chunk out to the 30-yard line. Let's take a minute and talk about North Carolina. Doesn't matter what time of season it is, a top 10 win is a top 10 win, and you know the underdogs would love to make a statement.
No doubt about it. When you've got a very low number beside your name, you're going to get everybody's best shot, and that's what this team is expecting from their opponent today. A lot of
We've got a barn burner in store for you in this one. A top 10 showdown early in the season, a measuring stick game, and one that both of these teams hope will propel them to bigger and better things. Welcome to Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth, home to the TCU Horned Frogs. As we'll see a participant from last year's playoff, the North Carolina Tar Heels. Taking on a participant from the playoff last year, the TCU Horned Frogs. Glad to have you with us for EA Sports College Football. I'm Reese Davis, David Pollack and Jesse Palmer with me in the booth. Guys, we are ready to tee it up. And the Horned Frogs ready to get this thing started and open the season. And he'll just take a knee, and this drive will start at the 25. They'll try the run. Defense in the right spot. They stop him after a gain of 2 to the 28. Guys, let's talk a little bit about North Carolina. They start the season in the top 10, ideal position to make a run, but what do they need to avoid?
Well, I think you avoid the talks about me and where we're at, because that doesn't matter. This team's got a lot to prove. It's a very talented team, but they got to start the season off fast. That first impression makes a big deal in all these voters, Jesse.
Yeah, I think a lot of these players are hungry to prove that top 10 ranking is legit. Talking to some of their guys too, David, they actually feel like they're not ranked high enough. They actually feel disrespected being where they are, which is pretty amazing considering this is already a really great jumping point. I can't wait to see how they play today.
These two guys, just on the same wavelength, they make clutch connections all the time.
And that's practice, man. That's all summer. That's all spring. Just so many.
And the defense picks up a sack, getting the quarterback down at the 44.
And that's what you're trying to do, not just in this game, but for the season. You're just trying to set the tone defensively, and they do that getting the sack. They feel good about their front seven and all the athletes they have. It'll be fun to watch this unit for the...
Picked off, and the opening drive is stopped with an interception. Couldn't find a ton of room on that return, but that small change, they take over at the 43. So now the offense is going to have to regroup. A turnover on the first drive of the game can bruise that confidence a little bit.
No doubt about it. It's so hard as an offense to create any momentum and get any confidence early when you turn it over at this juncture in the game. You're just trying to kind of feel out this defense, and you're formatting them, and you're trying different play calls to set things up for later. But when you turn it over on the first drive, it's hard to get that momentum started.
Man, coaches talked about they want to get this running back involved early and often and create some momentum, and this is a great way to do it. Early in this football game, ripping off an explosive run, get the juices going, and I bet you he's going to get a few more touches today.
It'll be 1st and 10 from the 30. Wide receiver going in motion. They'll keep it on the ground to the right. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage. Let's talk for just a second about TCU. Everybody uses the portal to varying degrees. Sometimes you just fill the exact right hole that you want. And this team, as they start this season, not a ton of new faces here, Jesse.
They didn't, but I don't think it's because there was a lack of effort on the part of the coaches, David. I think they believe they've got the roster in place now to have success.
Yeah, because when you bring people in, a lot of times you tick people off on your own roster. So when you only bring a few in, you cherry pick some elite talent and some real concerns that you have, sometimes it just addresses everything you need.
They've got to come up with a big play on this 3rd and long. He might want another play. To throw, it's Hoover. Caught in the backfield, it's Alexander. He couldn't find anywhere to go, and now it's 4th down.
Well, they try to spit it out to the running back on the perimeter of the field. You saw the speed and recognition by the defense, though, how quickly they were able to get to the back and get him down for a big loss.
And he missed it. No good. And after the miss, guys, the score stays right where it is.
And sometimes I just feel like 4th down, man. Just go for it every time. Like the field goal miss, make rate. And listen, kickers have improved the last couple of years, but you left some points off the scoreboard there.
And he was greeted by a host of defenders and barely gets it back to the line of scrimmage.
Man, not much wiggle room for the ball carrier there.
I'm not really sure what they can do to try to create some space.
I know. Block that. How about the offensive lineman push some guy backwards and make some holes?
And he runs through one tackle and picks up a few. So an example of a tight end doing a little unheralded work to set up a much better 3rd down situation.
And I like the QB here. I like the decision where I understand, let's get this football out, let's get some positive yards, and then get to 3rd down, and we can still have a better situation now because we got rid of the football and took the yards over there.
Defense did a great job. 3rd and short on the opponent's side of the field. They're expecting quick throw. Everybody, they dug their heel on the ground. They're able to break on the ball, force the incompletion.
The Tar Heels will call on their punt team. This will be their first punt of the afternoon. I wouldn't quite call it a shank, but that's not exactly going to go on the resume reel. Really good job by the coverage team to make the stop, and that's where they'll put it in play. TCU will send its offense back onto the field. The long missed field goal squashed any hopes of scoring on the last drive. They'll try to get something done this time. Using his legs, it's Price. They stop him just a link or two short of the first, and man, what they can do on second down here.
Really good surge that time by the offensive line. You saw all those bodies by the defense being pushed backwards. That opened up the crease for the ball carrier. He's able to get a really nice gain there, setting up 2nd and inches.
And he never had a chance. Just stopped cold as soon as he got it.
You just need more from your offensive line. 2nd and short like that, you'd love to be able to fire off the ball and pick that up running it, but the defense was able to get penetration. They were able to get a stop, and now you set up 3rd down, and this offensive line is going to have to play a lot better here.
To the air, it's Hoover. Time running out, and he goes down at the 34.
And it's such an advantage for this defense to have an outside linebacker like that can rush the passer, because they can set the edge. They can get off the ball, and they're just way too fast for tight ends or for offensive tackles to get out and block them.
Coverage team able to put a stop to that return at the 42-yard line. Carolina has it back, and the Tar Heels so pleased to send the offense back out. We'll see if they can be a little more productive this time around. A 3-and-out the last time they had the ball. They stop him at the 42, but they're on a roll with a pickup of 15 and a 1st down.
Well, and a nice job working the middle of the field. I think it's so important to keep defenses honest, and you can't just dink and dunk outside. You got to work the middle. Great job finding this wide receiver over the middle of the field.
And this one will be stopped for no gain. Didn't get much on 1st down. It's 2nd and 9. Wants to go up top. Bring in the heat. He is going nowhere. Stop at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Makes the catch. They are on the move as they pick up the 1st down. They'll spot it at the 28. 3rd down, a lot of times it comes down to not necessarily who's the most open, who do you trust the most?
No, it's not about the X's and the O's. It's about the Jimmys and the Joes. And when my guy's better than you and I get you matched.
Turning it on. Got some room, headed to the goal line. Touchdown, Tar Heels. Nice catch and good work afterwards to get it into the end zone. When that receiver got free, it was all over.
And it's so nice to have a receiver like this as a quarterback, because you pad my stats. I like those long touchdown passes where I just threw it really short, and he did the rest of the work.
And with the extra point, they get the first 7 of the game. And for a quick update, let's go to Kevin Connors in the studio.
Dynamite matchup this week, fellas. Let's show you what's going down. Mississippi State is ahead early in Stark Vegas, but that's not exactly Dak Prescott out there. This game is a long way from being over. They're up by 7 over ULM. Any big developments in this one, we've got you covered with the best studio team in the business. Gentlemen.
Thanks for the update on that one, Kevin. Let us know when it goes final. They'll put this one in play. First snap of the drive from the 25. They go to the ground. Forges ahead. Picks up about 3 to the 29.
And that's a really nice play. It's impressive. When it's 1st down and the defense thinks you might be running a football, you still can line up. You can get some movement at the point of attack and find a little crease for your running back.
Solid pickup of 4 on 1st down. It's 2nd and 6. Looking to throw, it's Hoover. He'll take a deep shot here. And that one falls incomplete, trying to get a chunk play on that one.
This defensive coaching staff, they love their secondary, and they love the matchups they have. They believe they've got 5 guys at least back there that can cover one-on-one. You saw a great example of it there on 3rd down, forcing the incompletion.
On 3rd down, he'll try to pick it up through the air. With the catch, it's Alexander. Across the 40, out of bounds at the 41, and a big pickup has this offense on the move.
Nice poise by the quarterback. Here's a big 3rd down throw, and you want to push the ball vertically down the field, but if the defense takes it all away, check the ball down. Quarter.
Guys, we've reached the end of the period, and North Carolina's on top. Guys, let's have a look at the stats as we've played 1 period. Heading in the opposite directions now as we crank it up in the 2nd. So 1st down here as they go back to work. They'll send the tight end in motion. One man in the backfield, and he gets it. Got a little space. There he goes. Rustled out of bounds at the 26. A huge pickup on the ground.
Well, obviously the offense went 3 and out on their last drive. They're having a little bit more success here. That was a nice run, and I think that's the key, guys. If they're able to run the football, they're going to be able to stay on the field. And I think that's something you want to think more about if you're the play caller on offense.
Nice gain on that play, but a little bit short of the 1st down.
One of the things you love about this running back is not only can he run between the tackles, but he's also a weapon in this offense catching the football.
Give to the running back. Got some room, headed to the goal line. And he's loose, and he'll take it to the house. Touchdown, TCU. Looking for the tie with the extra point.
The best running backs are the guys that can just sniff out the end zone. That running back showed you all of his freakish ability on that play.
And he splits the uprights on the extra point. And it'll be a touchback. The ball will come out to the 25-yard line. The North Carolina offense returns to the field. He stuck the last drive in the end zone. They'll try to follow suit here. Out of the gun, they'll run it inside. Defense in the right spot. They stop him after a gain of 2 to the 28.
That's a really good job by the defense, wrapping them up, getting them on the ground, take away that run game, make them one-dimensional, put them in passing situations. Really good job by the defense.
This junior making his presence felt and making the stop after a short gain.
And that run really didn't go anywhere. A lot of times we don't focus on it enough, but how important those 5 guys are up front. To get on those defensive linemen, to try to move them out of the way, to get a run game going, it squarely falls on the shoulder of those 5 offensive linemen.
Out of the backfield, he's open. Doesn't quite make it to the 1st down marker. He's a yard short.
Right there, I think you need a better play call. You got to help your quarterback out a little bit because the throw has got to at least make it to the sticks. On that last play, you're basically trusting the guy to make a few dudes miss in order to go pick up that 1st down. I think you need to start being a bit more aggressive here when these 3rd downs present themselves.
All down, but he has enough to move the chains.
Well, how's that for being aggressive? Early in the game, 4th down, in your own territory, and you go for it. And then your offense is able to come up with the big play, generate a ton of momentum, and stay on the field. That is impressive.
Makes the catch. It's Culliver. Makes the tackle at the 46, but it's a 15-yard gain to get them into plus territory.
Well, when you're running the drag route against man coverage like that, as a quarterback, you got to put the ball out in front of your target. And when you do that, you give the guy a chance to then advance the football up the field, pick up a 1st down like they did right there.
Strong pass rush gets to the quarterback, and they get him at the 46.
And I love this defense continues to get home and bring pressure. Another sack, their third sack of the game. They just keep applying pressure, and it's working. Do not stop.
They'll run play action. Here's the pressure. Just what they were looking for, and he's got him set up in business at the 35 with a first down.
You got to be impressed with the quarterback on that last play because he's already been sacked a ton of times in this game. He knows he does not have a lot of time to survey the field, get through his progression. So as soon as he feels a lane to take off and run, he's going to take it. A really nice job that time, showing off the athleticism and picking up the first down.
Working well behind the sticks on second down. They'll go to the ground. Oh, he's got some space. And the Tar Heels come to the line on third and short, trying to convert here. To the ground to try to pick up the first. He'll come through on third downs. He's got enough, and they'll mark it at the 23.
Yeah, and a nice job dialing up that short yardage situation play call there, David. They needed 1 yard, and they picked up 2.
Yeah, great job up front. Great job by the back knowing where they need to go. Nice having a hole where you can get through and not have to just do it all on your own as a rookie.
Not much working there. It'll be 2nd and 9.
The big fella in the middle, man. Those defensive tackles, they go such a long way in deciding and really stopping the other team's run game. Just forcing contact with those guards and those centers, owning the line of scrimmage, and getting running backs on the ground.
Well, the receiver did everything right. He ran a good route. He got his head around. He just didn't finish the play. Just look it in.
Let's see what they've dialed up on third and long from the 22. Under fire. He'll pull it down. They'll make the stop about 3 yards short of the first down. Referee signals timeout. It's the defense wanting to make sure that they have everything just right with a big play coming. So the offense is going to go for it on 4th down. He'll try to throw and pick up the first down. He's got it. They will score. Touchdown, North Carolina.
Quarterback's abilities to read the field is huge, and also the anticipation, the timing. To be able to throw the football, Jesse, and hit a guy in stride so he can get run after the catch and get in the end zone, that was a nice job by the quarterback.
Yeah, it's critical, David. Listen, a lot of times touchdown passes aren't thrown into the end zone. You've got to read the coverage, hit the open guy, and let him do the rest.
They're coming out to tee it up for the kickoff, and that last score was a real buzzkill for this crowd. Coming out with it, it's Bailey. Good job by the coverage unit to put a stop to that return. They've got a little time here to put together a productive drive late in the half. Looking for a gap. It's Price. Pushes the pile for a couple of yards down at the 12. Down to 2 minutes to play. We'll take the timeout. They'll talk it over. A chance to tie or even take the lead before the break. Plenty of work to do here on 2nd and long. They'll send the back in motion. Touch pass on the right. Got room to work. Flying down the right side. The 40. He's at the 20. Touchdown, Horned Frog. He got it loose, and it was lights out after that.
If I'm a play caller nowadays, man, I want more guys like this. Just versatility. You can see he can catch it out of the backfield like a wide receiver, or he can run it. Nice job catching the football with his hands, using his speed to do the rest and get into the end zone.
And he'll just take a knee, and this drive will start at the 25. The drive starts from their own 25-yard line. Back to throw, it's Barmore. Snagged out of the air. And he's knocked down, but there's also a flag that's been dropped. Let's check on the call. When you've already seen your quarterback go down 3 times, you might as well try holding, and they didn't get away with it. Wants to go up top. Right down the middle. All kinds of room to throw that one in there. They bring him down, but a solid pickup to put them in position to pick up the first down.
Nice job by the receiver on the in route there. And how about the speed after he made his break? He was able to actually separate a little bit from the DB, helping out his QB on that one.
Makes the grab. It's Gauze. They work their way to the 35-yard line. It's a gain of 5.
Well, it's a nice play design there. You're getting the running back involved in the pass game. Quarterback gives it to him early so he can go to work upfield and get the first down.
That's caught. It's Rodgers.
Nice completion here, this wide receiver. You're going to see this receiver line up in different spots all over the field all game long. Defense has got to keep their eye on where this guy is because they know he's a big part of this offense's success.
This junior making his presence felt and making the stop after a short gain.
Man, it's really hard to control the running game if you don't control the line of scrimmage. And how about the defensive line doing a great job attacking those guys up front, not open up lanes to run through. Nice job just nullifying that run altogether.
He's got an open man. Taken out of bounds after a good pickup there. They're in striking distance at the 37. The Tar Heels have it with a 1st and 10. Looking downfield on first down. Got the quick pass. And he'll make his way out of bounds after the solid pickup.
Then man coverage, when they get up in your face, they make things hard. You want to be able to attack the whole field and get them lean in one direction and then break outside like you did there. Nice out route connection. Nice chemistry between quarterback and wide receiver.
And the Tar Heels have their whole playbook open here on 2nd and inches. Out of the shotgun, they go to the ground. They knock him down, but he's got enough to get it across the line and pick up the first down. The offense will have to use its first timeout of the half. The Tar Heels back to the line on first down. Let's see if they keep leaning on this running game. Looking for a man. It's Barmore. Finds the tight end. And a good job of coverage by that defense. Just a short pickup.
I think that time offensively, you're just trying to take what the defense is giving you, right? They're playing zone coverage. You got your big fella just working right over the ball. It's an easy pitch and catch. Just take the profit and let's keep going.
Backed up now. Here's 2nd and long. He'll try to do it himself. He is brought down, but man, what a job to find some running room and move the chains. They'll immediately call timeout. Running out of time here in the first half. They're going to have to be efficient to put some points on the board before the break. The snap sets up the throw. And this will be incomplete. A big hit there forces 2nd down.
A lot of times when you go back and you revisit these games, who takes advantage of these opportunities in the red zone, in these goal-to-go situations? Bad job on first down by this offense.
Touchdown, UNC! Fitted in the window for the score.
And that is a perfect job by the offense, executing that 2-minute situation. The quarterback was really in charge and focused. Made sure that all the right decisions were being made with respect to execution and the clock. This is something you practice all season long, and they execute the 2-minute perfectly here at the end of the half.
Lining up to add another. And the extra point is true, and they're on top by 7. So a drive there of 85 yards, and they cap things off with a 9-yard touchdown pass. Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead. That ball skips through the end zone. It's a touchback, and they'll take over at the 25-yard line. Waning seconds of the first half. Let's see just how aggressive they'll be. Back to throw. It's Hoover. He can't find his man, and the clock stops with 6 seconds left.
When you talk about versatility at the running back spot, you got to talk about this guy in the conversation. He already has caught a touchdown on this one. They're still trying to throw him the football. That one goes incomplete, but I would keep this up if I'm on offense.
The give to the running back from the shotgun. At the 35, he's loose. He'll be brought down, and that's the final play of the half. That's the end of the second quarter. That means it's time to join Kevin in our halftime update. And the Tar Heels will line up to kick off and start the second half. And it'll be a touchback. The ball will come out to the 25-yard line. TCU has it back, and the Horned Frogs go on offense. They start this third quarter one-possession game and hoping to get an early drive going.
This offense is ready, and they're ready to take the field here and see if they can get something established. They don't have to change everything and reinvent the wheel. They've had some successes in the first half, so let's get that continued here on the opening drive.
Yeah, and I love getting that break at half to go talk with my coaches and pick my offensive coordinator's brain so I know exactly what I need to do to attack this defense, and I get ball first.
The Horned Frog just got that huge run. They'd love another explosive play. Off the play fake on first down. Lets it fly. Wide open downfield.
I love when you sell the run like that quarterback did right there. Stuck it in the belly of the running back, pulls it out, runs the play action. Great job of confusing the defense a little bit, making them honor the run, and then throwing the ball in the lanes right behind them.
They're going to run it. Past the sticks, and he may get more. And you can see the offense just feeling itself. They've got it down to the 21.
And how about that for efficiency if you're on this offense right now? 3 plays, 3 first downs. They get that one running the football. Great vision and open field running ability. Everything they're doing right now is working. This play caller is in a rhythm.
They'll give it to the back. He'll be pulled down after a good run. They'll mark it at the 15.
And after a successful run like that on first down, if you're the offensive coordinator here, maybe you're thinking about being aggressive and potentially taking a shot, because even if it's incomplete now on second, you only have a short amount of yards to go here on third.
And the Horned Frogs in a good spot here with second and short. Might be calling a hot route. Dropping back, it's Hoover. Well, the quarterback can make a big play when he starts moving around. Nifty little scamper on this one. Enough for the first down, and he slides in safely.
Second and short is a great situation to be in. And look at him. He drops back to pass the football. He doesn't have to throw the football. He wants to be aggressive, but he can just take off and scramble. Doesn't have to take a chance. Great being ahead of the sticks.
The Horned Frogs line it up with a first and goal. Tight end now in motion. A first down run on the doorstep. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play.
That's a fantastic play by the linebacker. He has such tremendous instincts. As soon as he sees run, he's coming downhill. He's got great speed. He gets you on the ground. That's why he's one of the best linebackers in the entire country.
Defense rose up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a 2nd and long coming. Back to pass. Caught behind the line. It's Price. Touchdown, TCU! Made the grab and then did the rest himself, and they put points on the board. The extra point here would tie the game. And after that extra point, we have a tie ball game in the 3rd quarter. That is an efficient drive. 7 plays, 75 yards. They're set to kick it off, and this crowd now ready to get behind them. The ball bounces through the end zone, and it will be a touchback. North Carolina has it back, and the Tar Heels so pleased to send the offense back out. Their lead is gone, and they'll try to grab it back on this drive. Fires to the big fella. Still running at the 40. And they'll pick up the 1st down and mark it at the 47.
And that's why QBs love their tight ends so much, right? Especially when they're athletic, because they make short throws turn into long gains. Because of his ability after the catch, it's so unique and special. He is dominant in this offense.
That last play is what you call a drive starter. They're out to the 47. It's 1st down. Gets it past the marker. Makes that one pay off, and they finally get him down at the 38. It'll be 1st down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. On the run, it's Goss. And they picked up 9 on 1st down. It'll bring up 2nd and short.
Coaches always harp about staying ahead of the chains, and when you can run with that type of efficiency on 1st down, man, you are doing just that.
They'll go right back to him. He's brought down, but it'll be enough for a 1st down.
All right, nothing flashy there. He just did what it took to get the 1st down.
The Tar Heels will line it up on 1st and 10. To the ground with the back. Tough run, gets it into the red zone, and they've knocked him down at the 17. And the Tar Heels with a 2nd and short to keep this drive moving. From the red zone, it's Goss. Stopped at the 13-yard line as the drive continues.
Awesome job. Run the football, right? It's really basic. Go to those plays you know can get you 1st downs, get you some extra set of downs, then you can go make big plays.
From the gun, the running back looking for room. He's brought down at the 6, but the defense feeling the heat to make a stop here.
This defense has got to get better at tackling in the open field or gang tackling, because if you need 3 or 4 guys to bring a guy down, have fun with that.
He caught it. Touchdown, Tar Heels. And with that, they've got the lead here in the 2nd half. Like a Thanksgiving turkey, they're just being carved. No shot. They have no idea how to get in this quarterback's head.
He's on fire. Everything he's doing is working defensively. We got to figure something out. We got to try to do something a little bit different, bring more pressure. At this rate, shoot, he's on so much fire, you might as well just send everybody. Blitz everybody, live with the results, because everything else ain't working anyways.
And the extra point is true, and they're on top by 7. We check in with Kevin Connors. What's going on, Kevin?
All right, guys, got a final score on one of the more intriguing games this week. UTSA delivered the knockout blow early in this one, en route to the type of win that can turn some heads there in the American. Trust me when I say the party is on in San Antonio. All that speculation all week, and now we know. But something tells me, fellas, we haven't heard the last of either of these teams.
Yeah, how about that? Sounds as if they had a good ball game there. Kevin, thanks for the update. Quarterback may change this route. Some early movement along the offensive line, and they'll walk it back. The officials offer the deal, and the coach accepts it. They will take the penalty. The give to the back. And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that. On the play.
It's hard to run on a defense that comes off the ball like that and runs to the football like that. Good luck. No holes anywhere.
Looking to throw, it's Hoover. Got rid of it in a hurry, but he couldn't find his man. It's incomplete.
Well, I did not have this on my bingo card, guys, but being one of the most talented quarterbacks in college football, to be under 50% completions in this game, nobody saw that coming. He has not been able to find his rhythm, and he looks frustrated.
Now facing a 3rd and long.
29 Philly. 29 Philly.
Looking to throw, and he needs a chunk play. Complete to the left. It's a game of first downs, and they've got one out to their own 37.
Well, look, that wasn't a touchdown, but that was a massive play for this offense. They needed some momentum. They needed to find a rhythm, and what better way than converting on 3rd down. Awesome job by the quarterback getting through his progression.
Handoff to the lone back. Not much running room there thanks to this senior defender.
And the defense doing a great job committing to the run. When you commit to the run like this, obviously you can give up some plays in the passing game, but you got to stop the run first.
Leaves it with the back. And a nice solid pickup there before the defense wrestles him to the ground.
Keep pounding away at this defense and make them play the run. If you can get this many a chunk, they're going to have to commit more guys to the box, more guys to the run. Then you open it up for the passing game.
As they get set to snap it, time winding down here in the quarter. He's looking to throw on 3rd and short. Caught in the backfield. It's Price. At the 35, he's open. There he goes. Touchdown, Horned Frog. And they add 6 more to the board with that trip to the house.
Man, oh man, when you got a weapon like that, you got to find him and you got to give him the ball in space. You have some plays on your play sheet, and some of them just say, that guy, get him the ball and let him do the rest. Dangerous weapon out of the backfield, catching the football, making the big play.
It bounds through the back of the end zone. It'll be a touchback. They'll be able to get off one more play before quarter's end. Out of the gun, the running back has it. They get in the backfield and make the play, and that's how they'll finish off this 3rd period. We've reached the end of the 3rd quarter, and we have a potential classic on our hands, all tied up as we take a peek at the stats. These two teams about to find out what they're made of as we open the 4th, all tied up. And a chance to mull things over, and let's see how they start the final period here on 2nd down. Dropping back, it's Barmore. Trying to make magic with his feet. He found a little opening and got loose. They couldn't stop him in the backfield, so a solid pickup there.
It's just so nice to have a QB under center. Nowadays in football, you can trust these guys. You put so much on their plate, and you tell them, they'll get positive yards when it's there. And a lot of these guys are such great athletes, they do it with ease.
And that ball is hauled in inside the 35.
This is a shootout. Both offenses up and down the field. They're generating explosive plays. It feels like which team has the ball last may win, but give the quarterback a lot of credit that time because, again, he saw a beautiful look to take a shot.
Breaks into the open. Knocked out of bounds. They're in the red zone. Mark it at the 17, and they are set up. Running backs just have to be a weapon in the passing game, even for little dump-offs and checkdowns.
Yeah, find your matchups. I mean, you think about running back versus a linebacker. We like that matchup in space, and so find ways to get the football to your running back in space where you can break tackles and make things happen because they're just so dynamic.
They're trying to run the football, and there's just nowhere to go for the ball carrier inside. He tried to bounce it to the outside. That linebacker way too fast. He met him there and forced the TFL.
From the gun, the ground game. And there was nowhere to go, just stopped in his tracks in the backfield.
Well, this running back has had a pretty good day so far in this game. I think the key right now is for the defense to find a way to slow him down. He had a good run 2 plays ago. The defense gets the TFL on this one. I think you got to change up your fronts defensively and try to give this offensive line different alignment looks to see if they can confuse it.
He's got the tight end. He is stopped well short of the first down marker at the 15, and let's see what they do on 4th. No hesitation at all. The offense stays on the field. They'll go for it. On 4th down, trying to find his man. It's incomplete, and the defense makes a stop and gets the football back.
Great coverage on that 4th down play. Nice job blanketing the receiver out wide. The defense, you could tell, they knew they were going for it. They had a game plan. They get the big stop and turn it over to their offense.
TCU will send its offense back onto the field. How about that last drive? Just carved him up in the air, David.
Yeah, and how about that quarterback? You gave him the ball, and he delivered the goods. Great job taking apart the defense, Jesse, on that last drive.
He really did, David. I mean, that was a masterclass in just reading coverage and being accurate.
After the productive first down play, it's 2nd and 6. Looking to pass. It's Hoover. Snagged in the middle. It's Price. At the 40. There he goes. And he picks up a huge chunk of yards on that play before he's finally hauled down.
And that's a good lesson for quarterbacks out there. When you're throwing to your running backs, if you get it to them early and they've got some space around them, they can do damage. And that's exactly what happened there. These guys are trained to be great once they have the ball in their hands. He makes people miss. He shows you the speed, and it's a big chunk play in the pass game.
Easy. Up a couple to the 31.
And, man, the big fellas up front, they don't get a lot of credit. They don't get talked about a lot unless it's negative, but they're the big component, man. They've got to get some push to get some running lanes, get this running game going. They're the ones that make it go.
After picking up a couple, it's 2nd and 8. The run from the shotgun. Turning it on. Makes the tackle right at the 21-yard line. Pickup of 10 on the play, and this offense is threatening with a first down.
I love the play call by the offense here running the ball. The score is what it is right now. You don't have to panic. You don't have to throw it every single down. You don't have to go up tempo. Just run your stuff. Be balanced. Run the football. Make sure this defense stays honest.
And the Horned Frogs are marching down the field.
42 Spider. 4-2 Spider.
The lone back's got it. Knocked down, but not before he crossed into the red zone and picked up 4 yards down to the 17.
It's all tied up. This offensive line, they want the pressure. They want everything to go through them here. They're saying, look, let's just run the ball. Let's get this thing down closer and closer to the goal line. Let's bleed some clock and put ourselves into position to win.
The clock has stopped, and we've reached the 2-minute timeout. Solid pickup of 4 on first down. It's 2nd and 6.
Pound 55 weak.
Leaves it with the running back. He's tackled right at the 10-yard line, and they're trying to cash in on this drive.
I love the play called running the football here in the fourth quarter because with the score what it is right now, everything is at your disposal on offense. You are not panicking. This isn't throw every single down, all of a sudden 2-minute air raid type stuff. You can run the ball. You can do all of your stuff, personnel, shifting, motioning. You just got to be very, very careful and absolutely cannot turn it over.
With the run on 1st and goal. He's brought down at the 6, but the defense feeling the heat to make a stop here. The defense going to stop the clock with a timeout. They want to make sure they have everybody on the same page. They keep pushing forward, now back to work on 2nd and goal from the 6. Timeout on the field, and everybody want to make sure they're organized as we come down the gut of the game. Can the defense stop them again on 2nd and goal? The run up the middle, trying to power to the goal line. He works his way all the way down to the 3, and the defense is reeling.
And with the stuff there, Jesse, on 2nd down, this little 3rd to mid-range, you got 2 downs. What are you thinking here?
Maybe getting your quarterback out on the perimeter and giving him a run-pass option. See if you can get the defense in a bind.
Still some work to do here on 3rd and goal from the 3. Quarterback adjusting the pattern.
Here we go. Dino.
Early movement on the offense will push them back a bit. So the decision has been made, and the coach will take the penalty. About to have the 9th snap on this drive. You don't want to settle for a field goal. Wants to fire it in the end zone on 3rd and goal. And the pressure will get there. The sack. Down he goes in the waning moments. That could be a costly play. Quick timeout by the defense there, trying to make sure everyone has the same call. So here we are on 4th down, and this field goal kicker is going to face all the pressure in the world. Right down the boulevard. And with just over a minute to play, they have taken the lead. And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
Boys, expect the unexpected in college football, and for some, this update could fall under that category. Akron went on the road and just dominated. And that's one way to grab some serious attention. Make a statement in someone else's house and prove you're legit. And did the Zips ever do that? Regardless the outcome today, guys, these are still 2 quality programs. Proof the sport is as healthy as ever.
Kevin, there's a live football. And the offense gets the ball back. How lucky are they? 5 points of pressure, high and tight. Oh, they are breathing a sigh of relief after that recovered fumble. Looking to throw, it's Barmore.
Well, you hear all the time that the tight end's the QB's best friend. You saw a perfect example of it on that last play, right? 2nd down, you need to pick up some positive yards to keep this 3rd down manageable. Really nice job of executing.
No time to waste here. They've got to get set and pick up chunk yardage. They'll try to get it through the air. Caught close to the marker. It's Rodgers. He'll be stopped and forced out of bounds. Mark it at the 47-yard line, and this offense is going to work.
Where's the defense on that last play? It's a 2-minute situation. You've got the guy making the catch in the middle of the field. You've got to tackle him in bounds and keep this clock moving. Somehow they were able to let him get outside and stop the clock. That just can't happen.
Looking to throw on first down. And it's incomplete. If you're going to take a hit like that, you might as well hang on to the ball.
And that's a good job by this defense. The 2-minute situations can be tough, especially communicating, and you know they want to push the ball down the field, but a lot of times it's towards the sidelines. They protect the middle of the field, play great defense all across the board.
The short hands, it's Martin. They make the stop, trying to pick up just a little bit at a time to get to that first down marker. Snap from the gun on third down. Grab near the sticks. It's Rodgers. And he scoots out of bounds, picks up the first down, gets the clock stopped, and now they're in business in plus territory.
That's something as a defense you got to be prepared for. In a 2-minute situation like this, you know they're going to try to throw the football to the sidelines and get guys out of bounds. So you got to have outside leverage, or you need zone defense to help out and try to bracket guys on these outbreaking routes.
Stopped after a good pickup, and he'll be just a tad short of the first down. Looking downfield, it's Barmore. And he can't find anyone open, and down he goes. A sack here late in the fourth. What a show both of these teams put on today. Couple of outstanding squads, hotly contested battle all the way to the very end.
Yeah, we came into this one expecting this to be a back-and-forth battle. We knew it was going to go down late into the fourth quarter. At the end of the day, the higher-ranked team, David, they were really able to lean on those playmakers and that leadership they've got in the locker room.
Yeah, and now I think even more so, you're starting to believe in them. They're battle-tested. This team they find a way to get things done. That's why they're ranked where they're at. And I expect this team to stay in contention for the college football playoff because they're proving week in and week out they're a really good squad.
That will put the wrap on things from here. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis. You've been watching another presentation of EA Sports College Football.